Batman White Knight #2, Sean Murphy doing, well,
Everything
everything.
except colours.
Because he's Sean Murphy.
Weaving freaking magic. That's what he's doing.
Well, there's Matt's opinion on this book.
Yeah.
So Joker, or Jack Napier, maybe I should say, basically gets himself acquitted because there's actually no evidence. He accuses the system of basically making him and wanting the boogeyman out in the streets. So they made him worse. He claims that he was never.
Said, this is in its own continuity, right?
Of course it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when he says like he's never actually done anything, he's just, he's robbed people. Well, does that mean the Joker really isn't that bad, or is he? Well, no, just...
I took that as he hadn't done anything until they messed him up and they made him the Joker. Because it's
My problem is it makes the police seem really incompetent. They're saying they haven't got a single bit of evidence for him ever murdering anyone.
Yeah, that's a wild thing.
I don't buy that.
That is silly. That is like...
And that's why I was looking at it going, well, wait, so did he really not murder people? Is he really just this robbery kind of guy that has a presence to him?
So you want to believe Napier, that he's telling the truth, and it's not just him saying things.
I don't think he killed anyone before he became Joker. If they obviously had a part in turning him into that, then fair enough. I'll buy that he didn't kill anyone before he became Joker. But the later story tells we find out about Jason Todd. It's like, well, I mean,
that's the thing, But yeah, no, I like that whole setup because it does make you question. And then when we get to the later stuff.
Before you move on, I just wanted to see back at the start when it's like the newscasters debating whether or not he actually is innocent or whatever he should be let out. How do you feel about them using the actual not the actual photo, but drawing the photo of that protest image from last year? I think this was.
Oh yeah.
They actually just drew this image from this famous photo of the women, the protester, being approached by the heavily armed police.
It was a bold choice.
It feels a bit weird to me to just use the actual thing.
Yeah, but I think that's what he's going for. It made me feel uncomfortable, which I think that's what Murphy's going for.
I think it's maybe the idea that he felt like if he tried to do his own version, he'd feel like he's just disrespecting the image. And the whole point of that photo is so maybe he thought it was it felt better to just use that picture and go, no, look, I respect this image enough to use it and not change it and do my own thing.
Okay. I'm not sure. I don't feel really strong with it one way or the other, but it did make me pause and go, that's a bold choice.
So can we talk about the shadow in the very first panel? I think there's such a glorious little art touch.
Oh sure, yeah, and it's basically that first Phantom Menace poster where it's Anakin's shadow is the Darth Vader shadow. That's basically what it is.
Say what you want about that movie, but that's a good poster.
Oh, the poster's great.
It was.
The poster's great. It's the best part of that entire movie is that poster.
Oh, I'm not going to dispute that. It's a phenomenal poster.
So he goes back to his old hideout and Harley greets him and is basically excited, wants to have sex, let's get crazy, put the white makeup back on, let's go and kill people and rob stuff and whatnot. And then I got very confused because I wasn't sure how literal I was supposed to take, because it wasn't until later on, because at first I was like, is this just in her head and she's just switching personalities? But then later on they actually explain, no, there were two Harley Quinns in this continuity, in this book. So you had the original Harley, who was the therapist, who became Harley Quinn, but then when the Joker went too far, in particular with Jason Todd, she realised he was beyond this certain point, and he was in love with Batman, not her. She fell away from him, and this other person came in and became the new Harley Quinn.
I love the meta commentary of this, of the idea, just how we've got such a different Harley now to this classic Harley, and it's like there's a point where, okay, maybe there was a point where it went too far, and maybe we should just look at them as two separate Harleys.
And that was it. I always had issues with Suicide Squad version of Harley. She was a psychiatrist and she fell into the trap. How did she let herself go that far? Right?
I don't think it's a coincidence that the new version of Harley is wearing a top that's very similar to the movie.
Yes, no, I think it's very intentional.
Right? Yeah. And then you get Deanie's version,
complete with the hyenas.
With the hyenas completely. And I love that. If there's one thing that, Killing Joker was originally, out of continuity like this, but they brought in, Barbara being attacked. I almost wish like there was multiple Harleys now. You know, like there's a pretender Harley,
I
and
think if you want to, you can headcanon it yourself, though, can't you? Like, you go, okay,
yeah,
I'm going
you
to
can.
pretend this new Harley that's running around
Yeah.
in the current Harley book, that's a completely different Harley. Like, just
Yeah.
personality-wise, it's very different anyway. But just pretend it. No, it's physically a different one.
Yeah, and then you can have Deanie's Harley that still runs around with, you know, Catwoman, you know, and all that other stuff. Like, I like that. It was a nice choice, but I had to go back and read it like 2 or 3 times because, like Pete, I was like, wait, is this in his head? Is this in her head? Like,
I thought, yeah,
and then no.
I thought it was in her head until we got to the scene afterwards where
Yeah.
she actually sits down with them with tea and explains what's going on, and I was like, oh, okay, all right, okay.
And I like too. He's like, I didn't know you drank tea. He's like, well, yeah, you never noticed a lot of things because you were so wrapped up.
Like I
being
turned
Joker.
into a different person, for example.
Exactly. You know, so. But yeah.
Oh dear. But so I'm just kind of going through it in order here, and the next scene, can I just say, Sean Murphy drawing Mr. Freeze is like the best thing.
Oh my god,
ever.
That's a print.
That full page where he stood, looking into the glass
And
tube.
Nora.
His wife, yeah, Nora.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the right word for that, the tube thing. But oh
Stasis
man,
Chamber.
yeah,
There
it's
you go.
just gorgeous, that whole image.
It's beautiful.
That's a print. Like, this is a print I would hang on my wall.
And
Right there.
I think it's interesting here. Like, so obviously we talked about how last time it's not just that Batman's went evil per se. Like, it's different than that. But you see here, he's trying to help Victor like heal his wife. He's trying to get a cure to bring him back to like normal. Not be cold blooded, basically.
Yeah.
Although interesting twist, like this Mr. Freeze, his origin's a lot earlier than the other versions because they mention that he's been this way for 50 years. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about like Nazi technology and stuff, and all that.
Yeah, so
Well, his name's Victor
interesting twist.
Freeze. The way it's very Eastern European.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's true.
So I can imagine him being part of the Cold War, and that's what.
Spell it with a K instead of a C.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they basically say he's been frozen in his 30s for 50 years, so he's basically just aged to 80 when they like cure him, basically. But yeah, so it's. But it's not a foolproof thing because they even mentioned they don't have a cure for her disease yet if they bring her back.
Nope.
So, but then again, he's so close to death that they probably have about the same amount of time left anyway. So
Yeah.
I know, but then that panel underneath that, where he's 80 now and he's just kneeling down in front of it, and he's just like, oh, what do I do? Do I just do this anyway? And you feel the emotion in that panel.
yeah, he's lost.
Yeah. If you took out the dialogue bubbles, that entire scene still works with just silence.
Now, question. I've got a question. I don't know if you guys will know this, right? But so they mentioned McGregor's syndrome here, right? That's what she's got, which is what she had in the movie Batman and Robin. Was it in the comics before that? The name of the disease, McGregor's syndrome.
I don't think so. It was
Because
always just this
if
disease.
if he's taking that, I mean, obviously he took Jack Napier from the first Batman movie, and he's taken traditional Harley.
Are you thinking this is literally in that continuity?
No, not in that continuity. I'm just saying it's a bold thing to take as something from Batman and Robin as stupid as McGregor syndrome.
No, I get you, but this is a much smaller thing.
Oh, sure, no, it is.
Almost, it doesn't really matter by comparison.
It doesn't. But if you remember,
it shows he's pulling from all the different versions of Batman to create this story.
Even ones that no one wants him to pull from.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, like, if you remember the plot of that movie, and yeah, I do remember more of this than I'd like to remember, but
that movie has a plot.
Alfred gets McGregor syndrome. That's the plot of that movie.
Yeah.
And is that why he's helping Mr. Freeze? Is because that's what Alfred has? Because we know Alfred's sick and he's dying. So you're saying it's a small thing, but if that's what it is, if Alfred's got this as well, and they're trying to figure out a way to save him, they're basically taking a whole plot line from Batman and Robin, which is ballsy.
But presumably doing something infinitely better with it.
But then again, take away the Schumacher sheen, and that's not a bad storyline for Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze.
Oh, sure.
You know,
Yeah.
So I mean that's one bright spot in that very terrible movie that I would still watch before I watch Batman vs Superman again. Because at least I can laugh at it and not be angry. It was like, chill, ice skates.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
You know, I like the fact that Batman, you could tell he's having a really bad week. Like, this is all from him viciously attacking Joker to Alfred just everything. He is on a mean streak, and I don't necessarily like. They're trying to set him up as a bad guy, and as much as I want him to be like, yeah, screw that guy, I don't like Batman. I feel like he's still sympathetic here. You know, he's still because you see he has that interaction at the ritzy party, and the guy's like, oh yeah, we have the Gotham tax zone, and the code is I got rich off of buying them and flipping them and taking the tax money. And Bruce just loses it and punches the guy out.
Yeah, because he's given legitimacy to what Napier's saying about what Batman's done to the city, and it upsets him, so he decks the guy. Also, because it's just wrong what he's doing, because he's profiting on everyone's misery. We mentioned the backstory with the original Harley leaving. I just want to point out how good the panels of her running in, like trying to stop the Joker from killing Jason Todd is, because I like that in this he's not using a crowbar, he's using a switchblade, and she just comes up and grabs it out of his hand. It just looks demented and
I love that whole bit is it's got that blood red glow to it. Just nothing else in the book. It's all these really cold colors. Even the bits where the other flashback, which kind of got this purpley glow to it. This is just blood red.
Yeah. That's...
Well, yeah, because all the Joker stuff's purple, and then he's made that decision, and now it's red. Because you turn one page, which a beautiful his Shrine of Batman. That's just like a gorgeous layout.
Yeah,
and everything.
Nice shadows in that page. As well.
And I love how the Harley is off to the side, like in the same way that it's off to the side for him. She's not important.
Yeah,
she's not even in focus.
He gets 2/3 of the whole page, and then she has like a thin strip in the side, and that's like you're just a side thing because of what he really loves is Batman. And he's basically like, let's do this. Let's save this city together. He recruits her. So we end up with this big scene at the end where they have all of the villains of Gotham, or the majority of them, come and have a meeting. And it's at this point I'm like, okay, what's he doing? Because he's he's meant to be good now, but is he going to use all the villains to do something? Yeah. So I think we should point out some of the more interesting designs of some of these characters. Killer Croc's got the big long snout, which is different from usual.
Love what he's doing with the Bane mask with him hunched over.
He's a luchador. I love it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, the fuzzy bit around his neck was kind of like throwing me off first. I was like, oh, it's Bane.
I think it's supposed to be like like the thing from Dark Knight Rises where he has the vest.
I can see it.
I think it's supposed to be that, but because it's hunched over, it's going to come in forward.
Question: who's the little girl next to Croc?
That's a good. Is it Starfire?
Yes. Well played, sir. Well played, sir. Because Roxy Rocket's behind her. Like she's clear by Riddler, and you have the ventriloquist, but
you got Scarecrow's got a pretty cool gas mask on. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the Two-Face. How one side's just the red with the white.
Well, and then you look at what he's drinking because it goes through, and they're all having drinks, and the Dent side has a glass of red wine, and then it looks like Four Loko on the Two-Face side, because of course he'd be drinking something that insane.
Also, I want to say how much I like Harley, how she looks here. Like she's got this business suit on, but it's like red pants and the dark jacket.
I feel the same about his Ivy. I feel like she's really classy and simple, but it looks good. Yeah,
and the sunglasses kind of complete the look. But basically, so Clayface is there, and he's got Mad Hatter's hat, and he's using Mad Hatter's technology, and then he's controlling Clayface, but he's taking some of Clayface's matter, sprinkled it into their drink so he can control the rest of the villains, and that's kind of the big. By the way, Bane with the glowing eyes with the stitched up mouth mask.
That's so cool.
Terrifying looking.
How's he drinking that?
Because it opens.
It's opening the tiniest of all.
Yeah. He's just doing tequila shots. It's fine.
I think
it's Scorpion tequila.
The real question is, how is he eating to keep that bulk up?
He's injecting it with needles.
Yeah, it's all. He's on IV. He just gives him what he needs.
Yeah. So our big final cliffhanger is he's got all these villains that are mind controlled, which is still very villainous, might I add. As much as he's maybe saying he's wanting to do good things, this still feels like a very devious way of doing it.
That's why I really like it, because we're going, okay, we want to believe him, but do we?
Yeah, I know.
And obviously that's the same thing as Batman. It's like, sure, because Batman's like, well, I want him to be good because that solves my problem, but do I believe him?
Yeah, no, it's all.
But that shadow, the first time you see him in the book, he's got the old Joker shadow.
He's in there, deep down. He's in there.
Yeah, and he addresses that to Harley. He's like, no, that's still a part of me. He's there trying to cause chaos still, and he has to fight against it.
Yeah.
So no, real good stuff. It's funny because when they announced the concept of this, we're like, oh, I don't know about this. It sounds a bit weird and sounds a bit this.
Yeah, then they told us it was like, they were using the name, the jet name.
Yeah,
like,
it was a bit weird, but sometimes it's worth just waiting, seeing what they do with it, and sometimes it can work out. Because 2 issues in out of 8, and we're really into it. So credit where credit is due, Mr. Murphy, you crazy bastard.
So I just looked up, I just googled Batman doll villain, and it's Baby Doll. From the animated series. Yeah, and that's why she's next to Killer Croc, because her episodes of the show.
It's been a while since I've watched it.
Yep.
But that's cool to know. I'll look out for next time I do.